Are you a travelpreneur who dreams of building a thriving business that gives you more time, financial freedom, and the flexibility to work from anywhere? Then you're in the right place, my friend. This is the Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust podcast. I'm Lindsay Dollinger, and I've built multiple six-figure businesses while traveling the world, living life on my terms, and helping women entrepreneurs do the same. Whether you're a travel advisor, an online business owner, or someone looking to add more adventure and income to your life, this podcast is here to guide you. Each episode, I'll bring you business strategies that actually work, productivity hacks, branding and marketing expertise, and plenty of pixie dust fun to help you create a business that fuels your passion for both profits and travel. So if you're ready to scale your business, attract more leads, and build a brand that lets you work from anywhere in the world, let's dive in and create and own your magic together. Hey friend, welcome back to Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust. We are going to dive right in because I think this week's conversation is going to fall in place really nicely. I should have just made this kind of like a series. I didn't really plan it that way until today. So I didn't really promote that the last two episodes, but we've been really diving into CEO habits, business habits, all the pieces. Like last week's episode was about my non-negotiables. So the pieces that at least I have really prioritized in my business that has made my business feel smoother, be simpler, take me less time. And those are probably things that you are looking for as well if you were here and listening. So today we're going to dive into business habits that made me more money than social media ever did, which I thought was a really fun, catchy topic. Before we dive in, a little personal. I like to do like a little personal antidote at the beginning. So if you hear some air cleaners buzzing in the background, that is because I'm in Ohio and we are currently getting some of the wildfire smoke coming down from Canada. So trying to keep the air quality as good as possible. So I turned off the one closest to the computer, but if you hear that running in the background, that's what is going on right now. I am 10 days out from leaving for Puerto Rico. It will be not really a fam trip, but a TA rate on my first Royal Caribbean cruise. So I've sold a lot of Royal Caribbean and I feel like I really know the product minus ever being on it and experiencing it myself. So I'm going on an older, smaller ship. So I feel like the experience won't exactly be the same as going on like an Icon class or even an Oasis ship. However, I'm really excited. We picked this itinerary for the ports. So we don't mind traveling to the same place twice. We're not those kind of people that are like never doing that. However, I've always wanted to visit the British and US Virgin Islands. And I actually haven't been to Puerto Rico. My dad's been a couple times and I'm a Spanish teacher. So I also love all things Spanish. So I did Mexico and Honduras as a fam trip in June. And then we actually booked this cruise the very end of May, once my dad was starting to feel a little bit better from his fall on our last cruise. So we are fingers crossed hoping that this cruise goes really well all around, hoping that the tropics stay nice and weather free. If you catch my drift, I don't want to put anything out there into the universe, but we're hoping for some good weather. I know it'll be hot and humid. Yes, guys, everyone's like, it'll be so hot and humid. Yes, I know. I don't really mind the hot and humidity a lot. Yes, it kind of gets to me if I'm like out all day in it and I'm not adequately prepared. But I feel like if you have water and some shade and some electrolytes and you're dressed appropriately and you have your sunscreen and you have like your rain gear in case of pop-up showers, that's what it is, right? So, and I think that's a big piece too when we are talking about expectations with our clients is making sure that we set those sorts of expectations with them as well. And then hopefully you won't be disappointed if something happens, right? Or have a miserable time. Same deal with Disney. I mean, all my clients going to Disney and Universal down in Florida, it's probably just as hot and humid there, if not more so, than some of these islands, right? So anyway, I am pumped. The only thing I have been having some difficulties on my end with the Royal Caribbean app, which I don't know if this is like just a sailing thing or what's going on, but there are 2 days that no one on the ship, or at least that's in the Facebook group, because that's the feedback I'm hearing from other people as well. None of the excursions you can book, they've been grayed out. So people have called Royal Caribbean and they can't even book them when they call. They say there's some sort of a tech glitch and it'll get fixed, but literally we're 10 days out, it's not fixed. Then I just got on today and I noticed my check-in time had changed. So I stayed up until midnight to get my 11 a.m. check-in check-in time to be like the first group on board. And it changed today to noon. And then other people are saying they're still stay at 11. So I don't know why mine got changed to noon and other people's did not, because I feel like we were like right on it, literally. But no big deal, because we did buy the key, which if you do not know, a key gets you priority boarding. So I heard you get an email about 8 days prior telling you about like how to get on board with the key. So anyway, all that to say, I'm very excited for Puerto Rico. We're flying in the night before, which kind of makes me a little bit nervous just because there are not that many flights, right? From Columbus to Puerto Rico. Like it's not a simple 2-hour flight. We'll be traveling and flying for about 9 hours to get there. But we get in pretty late the night before, boarding the next day. We have a 7-night cruise. We're stopping every day except one. We have one sea day the last day. And then we are staying in Puerto Rico an additional 2 days. We're going to do El Yunque Rainforest, which is the only rainforest in the United States, technically. So we're doing that through a Viador tour. And then, I don't know, exploring San Juan, going to the beach. We got a place right on Condado, which is right outside of Old San Juan. So pretty excited for that. So that's what's going on with me personally. Really not much else to report, friends. Like I have been doing a lot of bookings for people, a lot of quotes for people, doing different random things around the house, trying to get things batched as much as possible, not only through my trip, but also after my trip, because after my trip, I only have, I come home and I have less than a week before we start back to school, which is insane. This summer has been the quickest summer ever, I feel like. It's also been really nice because, I love to travel. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure you do as well, right? But there's just something to be said for being able to, I will be home most of the month of July, and being able to do some things around the house and around, get appointments done and things like that, but also have a lot of break time. So I have been reading a book a day, which I know sounds a little nuts, but I've been reading a book a day. I've been doing don't make fun of me, but the romancy type books, like the Emily Henry of the world. I hadn't read all of hers yet. And then I'm going to dive into, I forget the author off the top of my head. I have some of Megan Quinn's that I just got in. So I've been reading a book a day, and then it actually inspired me to start writing my own fiction book, which I don't really know where this came from, but when I was a little girl, and I promise we're going to get in this episode. I just want to do a little bit of catching you up, friend. But when I was a little girl, I loved writing. I did all the creative writing projects. I won creative writing at the Ohio State Fair. I would always write sequels to books that I read that didn't already have one, or if they did and I didn't like it, then I would rewrite it. I was always writing. And I don't know what, something inside me when I've been reading this book a day, I'm like, why am I not exploring this passion that was something of mine that I had back, way a long time ago. And I think one of the big things was the time piece of it, because obviously that's really time consuming to get a good product out of it, right? And even that is a little bit daunting because I don't like starting things and not finishing them if I don't have to. And I feel like I have a lot on my plate. And I also feel like maybe that's not the time to pick up something. Maybe right now is not the time to pick up something like that, because I am all in on growing my travel agency, not only my own personal book of business, but also bringing in new agents to help them with their book of business. But then I also know there's something to be said for having that time and space in your life for doing those things that you just really enjoy. So I had this idea for a book. I'm not going to share all of it on here, but I started mapping it out, with different tabs. Of course, there's a trip involved. So I feel like it's very timely. And then it also was a little bit inspired by the World Cup, because I studied abroad 4 times, actually. 3 times, once in Spain, once in Guatemala, once in Peru for my master's degree. My master's degree is in Spanish. And then once in undergrad, because my undergrad is in Spanish, also in Spain. And then I have visited Spain more than 10 times beyond those trips, taken either people with me or gone solo, gone to conferences, things like that. So it's going to take place mostly in Spain. And I think part of it is the World Cup fever, because I fell in love with Spanish soccer when I was living over there. And so anyway, I'm just really kind of excited about that. That's something really fun for me. And I encourage you, as we're talking about these business habits today, which we're getting ready to dive into right now, to find that thing for you that is kind of your thing, that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with your business. Like, yes, I've also been really intentional, really only about the past 2 weeks, but we are human. We do what we do. But about like moving my body every day and like taking walks outside with my dog and listening to podcasts and doing those sorts of things. But like, is there some sort of hobby that you can add in? Even, so I asked ChatGPT, like, okay, give me a timeline. Because I am someone, like when I was training, I don't know if you can see my shirt, but I've done multiple, I think I've done like 13 half marathons. And I love a good half marathon training. I would download the Hal Higdon app on my phone and it would tell me, Tuesday, Thursdays where you ran this much, Saturday or Sunday was your long run, and then in between was whatever. Like, I love a good schedule like that, which I think part of that ties into like last week's episode when I was talking about my non-negotiables. And you might have heard me mention in that episode and in previous episodes, I really love the idea of like theme days for work. Like Monday is content day. Tuesdays are my podcast days. Friday is always following up. Thursday might be outreach for like building new relationships, things like that. Like, if your brain works like mine, and I know not everybody's does, but if you like a good pattern like that, like ChatGPT told me about my writing, okay, write for 30 minutes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Perfect. Done and done. I can do that. I can schedule that in. So find something like that for you that kind of fills your cup a little bit, where you can unplug from everything else. You can make some dedicated time to do that thing. And it can only be 30 minutes. Like, it doesn't have to take like a huge amount of time. So that's my rant on that. So that's something that I'm really excited about. We'll see if anything comes from it. Like, I'm not sharing it. I guess I just kind of did share it with the world, but I'm not like putting it out there to make myself like super accountable, but putting it out there just enough that like people know that, that I'm doing something, and I hopefully will have a really good story to share with you guys, in the next, I don't know, by Christmas. Let's say by Christmas. But anyway, okay. So now let's dive in, because social media is not your business. It's a marketing tool. Marketing, though, is part of your business. Okay. And if you have not caught that yet, you need to go back and listen to like all my episodes, like forever and ever, because we talk a ton about marketing here. But some of the habits that have made me the most money over the past several years have nothing to do with social media, nothing to do with Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or whatever platform of the moment that people are stressing out over this particular week. Because it always is changing, right? Don't get me wrong. I love creating content. I believe in showing up consistently. You heard me on the last episode, if you listened, talking about my 3 C's: content, connections, and consistency. A lot of connections is what we're going to talk about a little bit today. But if I disappeared from social media for a week or even 2, my business is still going to make me money, because I have built systems and habits, not just content. I'm not just a content creator, okay? So today I want to share the business habits that have actually increased my income far more than chasing the algorithm ever has. So let's dive in with those. No particular order on these, and I think I have about 10. All right, so habit number 1 is following up. I really talked about this last episode a lot. However, it's important enough we're gonna talk about it again today, because I think we can all agree that most people give up way too soon in their business. Someone asks for information, you send the quote, you get crickets, and you're like, well, they're not interested, they hate me, they're booking themselves. Like, we start going down the spiral of all the things that could be happening, right? Or maybe life just happened and people get busy and, plans change. I actually heard a really good podcast. I wish I could remember which one it was for sure to give them credit. I can't off the top of my head. Maybe the Travel Agent Guide, where she was talking about, I don't know if it was hers for sure, so don't quote me on that. But anyway, she was talking about how someone who hadn't followed up with her, she ended up finding out later that the woman had asked for the quote from the travel agent without ever consulting husband, apparently had the conversation with husband. Her and husband got in a really big fight about it. Wife was really embarrassed that, husband not only didn't want to take this trip, but how he responded and reacted. And it just was a really sore point. So that's the reason she found out later that she did not respond. Kids get sick. The weather happens. Work gets crazy. You forget. I don't know if you're like me, but I, all the time, scrolling through my email, I see something that I read. Maybe I read it like in bed, which I know you're not supposed to do, but maybe I read it in bed. Maybe I read it getting off of an airplane. Maybe I read it sometime where I had service. Maybe I read it before I got in the car to drive. And then because it's marked unread, it's not on top of my mind, right? When I go back to my email to read through my emails, it's not unread, so I forget about it. Some of my highest commission bookings happened after the second or third or fourth follow-up. Yes, I said fourth follow-up. Not because I pressured someone, not because it was annoying, but because I stay top of mind. People appreciate professionals who actually follow through. I have follow-up emails set up in turn. I had these in TravelJoy as well. I actually think TravelJoy makes it a little bit easier because at the very bottom of their emails, there's something you can toggle on that says like, if no response received in 3 days, resend. I like that. I like that feature a lot. So maybe, Turn, you should add that in there. I automate reminders. I also set reminders, in my phone to pop up as well. And sometimes I even just send a quick text or a Facebook message saying, hey, just wanted to make sure my email didn't end up in spam, because I've had some people say that as well. Whether it's true or not, who knows, but that's what they say. Simple, professional, effective. Following up has made me infinitely more money than posting one extra reel ever has. Along that to say, I think I shared this kind of script last episode as well. One of the things that usually gets people who have been ghosting me at least a response is like, hey, so-and-so, just checking in one last time. If I don't hear back from you, I'm going to go ahead and archive this trip and assume that you do not want to travel. If something has changed, please let me know. I would still love to help you with this, but I don't want to bug you either. And you can say it in whatever way you want, but basically, like, I don't want to waste my time or waste your time if this isn't something that's going to happen. And then I send that via email. And then sometimes I will send the very similar or same thing via like a Facebook Messenger if we're connected that way. And usually I get some sort of response one way or the other. Okay, habit 2, take care of your existing clients. We all know, I'm sure you have heard by this point, although as much as everyone wants the new leads, very few people are maximizing the clients that we actually have. These are the people who, if you serve them well, most likely, not always, but most likely will refer you out to their friends, either directly or indirectly, by saying like, I just had an amazing Universal vacation. Like this just happened to me this past week. I had an amazing Universal vacation. We stayed at all this wonderful resort, the Evermore Resort, had a fabulous time. And then people in the comments are like, oh, we want to do this. We don't know where to start. In comes my client. Wasn't initially the point of the post. In comes my client, tags me. Lindsay Dollinger did an amazing job with my trip. Please reach out to her. And then now I have a connection. Okay. So directly, indirectly, we can ask these clients as well. Like I have an email automated as well, asking for a referral, asking for feedback as soon as they get back from their trips. This can come from you following up as well, but make sure you are serving your clients, because a happy client is essentially a walking billboard for you. So we're checking in. We're remembering the birthdays, because you can also automate those in Turn or TravelJoy or whatever CRM you're using. We are celebrating the countdowns. We are following them on social if we feel appropriate to do that. And then we are liking and maybe even resharing some of their stuff when they're talking about how excited they are about their trip. We are sending them helpful travel tips. I just had a one-on-one with not a travel client, but a business client this morning, because I do limited one-on-ones if you're interested in that. And we were talking all about growing her business via YouTube and Facebook monetization. Anyway, I saw a post after we were talking a couple hours later, and it was something to do with travel and food. However, her specialty is actually bourbon. So I took the post, sent it to her, and I said, hey, this would be a cool idea if you want to tweak it for your business with bourbon. Like, take these ideas, and this is like probably another habit I have that I'm going to be sharing later, so I'm not going to go all full into it right now, but take ideas from other people in other industries, tweak them and make them your own, and send them up. Like, send the helpful travel tips, as long as it's not like another travel advisor's tip, because that's kind of weird. But, send the things, send the article that you see about the new food. Like, I follow like the Disney food blogs, and sometimes I'll send those to clients when I know they're big foodies, or if I know a specific thing that they like before their trip, like, oh my gosh, you've got to try this. It's over at Disney Springs, and I'll send them the link. Make those connections and build those connections with people. Answer questions quickly when they have questions for you. Be available when they need you, obviously within reason and with boundaries, because people remember how you make them feel, and we want to make them feel like $1 million. Habit number 3, ask better questions. This one changed everything for me, and I'm still honestly getting into the habit. Not even the habit, I guess I want to say, but finessing this skill, because this is a skill. Asking them, what else is on your travel bucket list? Have you ever considered a cruise? How do you usually do spring breaks? Do you want to visit Europe? Have you visited Europe? Like, asking these sorts of things, not only so you can get an idea of what they want on their current trip, but be mentally thinking, okay, I'm going to keep you in mind. And you can even ask, okay, can I send you, if I see a good deal, on a European river cruise for Christmas markets. I don't know. Can I send that your way? Most of the time people will say yes, or they'll say, and they'll be very honest, and I appreciate this as well. We're not looking to do that right now. We would like to do that maybe in about 2028. Then make a little mental note in your CRM, set a reminder to check in with them, I don't know, spring 2027, because that's perfect time to book a 2028 cruise, right? I've had Disney clients become river cruise clients. And if you haven't listened to that episode, it's maybe 3 episodes ago. Loved recording that, loved giving away tips on that, on how to turn those Disney clients into clients in different sectors, I guess I'm going to say. I've had cruise clients become my European clients. I've had all-inclusive clients become a safari client just because I asked, not because I posted another graphic. Now, I'm not going to say that they didn't see my social media and that didn't keep me top of mind, but I don't think that's the thing that led directly to that booking, right? It's the relationships, it's the over-delivering, it's all those pieces as well. Habit number 4, protecting CEO time. This one's probably one of my faves. Every week I have CEO time where I work on my business instead of in my business. That means things like reviewing my finances, looking at my inquiries, looking at, honestly, just like my dashboard in turn. Okay, what tasks do I have coming up this week? Checking my conversion rates, planning upcoming promotions, reviewing my marketing, creating systems, updating, automate. It's a lot, friends. Improving my client experience. I like to go in and think, or if you have had a client recently who maybe did not have a good experience or did not give you good feedback, don't take it to heart, don't take it personally, but make it a lesson where you can start changing and make yourself even better. So how can you constantly be improving the things that you already have, especially if you're not a beginner in this business? If you're a beginner in this business, we got to get those foundations down first, right? But if you are like me and you've been here for a few years, or maybe even a year, and you feel like you really have the basics down, now it's time to start finessing those other things. It's time to really start, making sure that things that we have are really working for us and optimizing all around, because these are the things that are actually going to have your business gain that momentum and grow exponentially instead of just kind of like a steady, solid growth. Along with that, habit number 5, creating the systems. You got to create the systems. I know I talk about this all the time and you're probably like, Lindsay, shut up with the systems. I used to rewrite every email. I used to answer every question from scratch, search for the files, forget what I send people stuff, and then think I had said one thing, but I forgot to mention something. And then they come back and they're like, why didn't you tell me about mobile passport control? And I'm like, crap, I meant to. And we got talking about something else and I forgot to do it. Have these things in email templates that you can already have all this stuff automated, first of all, in Turn or your CRM. But have it so if you're not quite there with the automation, which, friend, if you're not, we got to talk. But if you're not quite there, okay, have them in docs or somewhere where you can quickly say, like, okay, this is the one that I send 2 weeks before departure. This is the one I send 6 months before departure, so that we know that their passport is, under control. If I answer something twice, it becomes a template. If I complete something repeatedly, it becomes a workflow. If I notice a pattern, I automate it. That's just how it is. That's how I have been able to grow multiple businesses and have a social life. Well, debatable if I have a social life. I don't know where social life can go. Have a personal life. Let's say that. Automation. This habit has saved me hundreds of hours. Automation does not replace relationships. It gives you more time for relationships. Habit 6, tracking your numbers. Business owners love feelings. CEOs love data. Do you like that? How many inquiries have you had recently? Last month, last 90 days, last year? How many consultations if you do that? How many bookings? What's your average booking value? Your revenue, your profit, your marketing sources, your conversion rate, those things. And if I went too fast on that, pause this, rewind, write those things down. If you don't know these numbers, you're just guessing. I always tell my advisors, hope is not a marketing strategy. Data is going to tell you where to spend your time. So if you're looking at this and you're seeing a big drop off between one of those categories, okay, that gets to be the one that we get to ask for feedback about. That gets to be the one that we get to really focus on improving for the next quarter. Habit 7, continuing to learn. I love this one too, because I love investing in coaching. I love coaching others. I love the courses and the books and the conferences. I love networking and masterminding, and I love supplier trainings when I have time for them. Supplier trainings aren't always my favorite, but I like in-person supplier trainings. Not because I know nothing, but because I know I can always improve and because I always take something out of it, whether it's what they wanted me to take out of it or not, that's to be, discovered. But the return of those investments for me has been enormous. Sometimes one idea can pay for the entire conference. One conversation can change your business or the course of your business forever. Growth compounds. So if you were listening to these, I really think you need all of the above. Find a good course to invest in. Find a good book. Find a good conference to go to. I am going, those of you who are Disney people, and you don't even have to be a Disney person, but I'm going to say Disney people. My friend and mentor, Lou Mangello, he is the #1 Disney podcast in the world. Amazing man. I've been going to his event called Momentum Workshop. I actually have a podcast episode about it like literally every year. And I should reach back out to him and interview him again because I feel like that's one way that I can give back to him for all the stuff that he's done to give back to me is have him on the show. His workshop, he calls it a workshop, it's a conference, but it's small. It's less than 50 people, is in Orlando, Florida, October, like 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, like that weekend. I'm going to miss the first evening just because I'm still teaching, and that's actually parent-teacher conference night, which would, so instead of just taking one day off, I would have to take 2 days off, even though it's just one day, which is annoying. So I'm missing that first evening. I'm coming with my sister. I have amazing friends and relationships there. Actually, other coaches that I work with I'm sorry. My dad just texted me. I got distracted. Other coaches I'm working with are actually going to speak as well. So I'm like, literally all my favorite people are in one room. But tickets are open now for that. So if you want something that is not exactly travel industry related conference, that's a good one to go to. It's a little more pricey. However, the relationships are worth it in that room. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. But that's one that you could go to. Reach out to me if you want. If you want more feedback on conferences, especially non-industry related conferences, let me know that too. All right, habit 8, building relationships. Relationships have built my business more than any trending audio has. And I'm not talking about just relationships with clients, but yes, those as well. Relationships with suppliers and other advisors, with podcast guests over the years, with other business owners. Those relationships, like that's what I was just talking about with Lou's Momentum weekend. Those relationships have led to clients, have led to collaborations, have led to having a community where if I'm having an email problem or a question or a Facebook question, I know people that I can reach out to connect with and to ask those sorts of things. We have that level of trust with each other. So don't think that every conversation has to have like a dollar attached to it or an outcome in mind to go into it. I have some podcast guests who I've had on my show or I've been on their show who have completely, been so supportive, and they share my stuff out and they're cheering me on my socials. And then I have some that honestly, if we don't talk again, I'm cool with that too. You're never going to know though until you go into the conversation and you put yourself out there a little bit to make those sorts of connections. People remember people. Algorithms change, but relationships can really create opportunities for you if you let them and you open the door that way. Habit number 9 is one of those other C's. Be consistent, even when it feels boring. And I'm going to say especially when it feels boring. One of my coaches said her word of the year this year was boring because she didn't want to change anything. She wanted to get the systems and everything down in her business, so it just kind of was working on itself, and she was able to do the same sorts of things every day inside of it. Most successful businesses are actually pretty boring. They don't reinvent themselves every week. They don't chase every shiny object. If you're feeling a little bit caught out by that, I feel you, friend. They keep showing up week after week, day after day, whether they want to or whether they don't, because they have thought ahead, they have batched stuff out ahead, they have planned ahead. Consistency doesn't always feel exciting, but it builds trust, and the trust builds sales. And those sales probably feel exciting, right? So we got to start with that consistency to get to the sales. Habit 10, think long term. This one might be the biggest lesson of all. I don't ask, will this make me money today? I like to ask, will this build a business for me? Or will this build the business that I want 5 years from now, 3 years from now? That's why I have the email list, the podcast, the automations, the referral systems, the templates, the SOPs, which is standard operating procedures. So stuff, written out for my VA so that she can step in for me when I need it. That's why I have a CRM. That's why I have the client workflows. A business doesn't become valuable because it has a lot of followers or it makes great social media posts. It's valuable because it runs consistently, and people know what to expect when they work with you. They know the sort of service that they're going to get. They know that they can trust you. They know that you're not going to ghost them for 4 weeks and fall off the face of the planet because they know that about you, right? So one of the things when I was moving from just being a solo travel advisor to creating my agency and bringing on ICs to be travel advisors with me, I really sat down with this. It probably took me about a month. Because I'll be honest, I was ready to rock and roll in December with this. I was like, okay, let's go. And then I actually did not bring on, I think it was the first week in March, my first independent contractor travel advisors, because I sat down and I was like, okay, what systems are in place, not only to make this the best possible experience for my advisors, but to make this doable for me, because I'm still in the classroom teaching, right? So I don't want to be, looking all over the place, trying to find out who gets paid what commission and blah, blah. And ultimately, that's why I ended up switching to Turn. I was a TravelJoy user beginning in January 2024. I actually still have my account with TravelJoy because it auto-renewed in January of this year. And I didn't decide fully to commit to Turn until February. But that's why I was dragging my feet, bringing new agents in, because I'm like, I am thinking long-term. I am thinking, how can I make this process easy for me? How can I make this seamless for me and my advisors? And that's why I ended up switching. So, thinking long-term with the end goal in mind and being open to, I got feedback from a lot of different people. That's why I created the contracts I did, the way I did, when I did, spent that sort of money and that investment up front, because I know now, hopefully, knock on wood, those sorts of pieces should be kind of set in my business and maybe just need a little tweak here and there in the future. But I don't really need to revisit that stuff. And I can then spend my effort and my energy on, my onboarding process, which I also wanted to get in place, those sorts of systems, so that it was the same for everyone that came into my agency. I didn't want to spend, 5 hours training someone else come in and I give them a half an hour of my time or whatever. I wanted to make sure I was sharing the exact same thing across the board. And now some of that got created along the way, after people joined and I got some feedback. That's when I added my automated emails for new advisors. Every new advisor in my agency gets put into a 30-day onboarding email sequence that I created. I did that, I think, maybe in April. So that was a little bit later coming, but I did that based off feedback, and I'm setting it up again for the long term. That's something that took me, a couple hours to create. I did use ChatGPT with some help because I'd already had the stuff created, so it helped me break it down. And then it took me some time to get all of it set up into Flowdesk, but now once it's set up, it's ready for the long term. So what are those things in the long term or that support your long-term goals that you can do now? So my final thoughts on this are, if social media disappeared tomorrow, would your business survive? It's a question worth asking because it has happened. I am in and out of Facebook jail all the time, especially in my Facebook groups. So if you go to my Facebook group, I will not lie, it has been pretty dead this year because I have been blocked from posting in my own Facebook group for 4 out of the 6 months of this year. It's been really, really annoying, even though I'm meta verified. Don't even get me started on that. But, so knowing that we cannot control social media, remember, your business habits matter more than that. Social media might get you the attention. It might be your digital business card, and I definitely don't think you should ignore it. I think all the smart people are using it. However, systems are creating the freedom for you. The relationships are creating the referrals. Consistency is creating the trust. The follow-up is creating the sales. And your CEO thinking is going to create growth. Let's say massive growth for you. I believe in massive growth for you. Those are the habits that have made me far more money than social media ever has. So if you're feeling discouraged because you only get 2 likes in your posts, your latest reel only got 300 views, your post didn't go viral, remember this: the businesses making the most money aren't always creating the most content. They're building the strongest foundations. And that's something that every single one of us can start doing and can improve on every single day. You can go back to that list of 10. you can improve on something on there. I promise today. So take action. Don't just listen to this podcast. I love learning all the things. Don't just listen to this podcast, but actually take action on it to see the results that you deserve. Thank you so much for spending part of your day here with me on Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust. If this episode encouraged you, I'd love if you would take a screenshot, share it on social media, tag me in it so I can cheer you on. Also, guys, the DMs lately, like, I don't know if it's in the air or what, but you guys are DMing me, telling me that you are listeners of the show, introducing yourselves, telling me you love it. Thank you for that, really, truly. Thank you for that. I love making those connections with you. Tell me what you want to know more of, really. Like, I love getting those ideas and that inspiration from you. So tell me what you'd like to hear more of. Also, tell me maybe something that's where you're struggling in your business, and I can also point you toward a podcast maybe that I've even already created that can help you like right away. So reach out, let's have a little conversation. And if you're someone who is looking to start your travel advisor business, you're not yet with a host agency, I would love to reach out and chat about you joining me at Last I See the World Travel. Until next time, keep dreaming big and go out there and create and own your magic. We'll talk soon.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. I hope you're leaving today inspired, Princess, to create, own, and spread your magic to the world. If you found value in this episode or know a girlfriend who needs to hear it, would you screenshot it and send it to her? And if you're feeling really generous, pop it up on your IG stories and tag me at Lindsay Dollinger so I can see you loved it and tell you thank you. I appreciate you. Now let's go do some amazing things. Bye-bye. Hey, fellow Disney lover, are you looking for magical, comfy fashion? Then you need to check out Bella Bling's shop. Bella Bling's size-inclusive line is perfect for park hopping, princess races, or just adding a bit of everyday magic into your life. Much of the artwork of this comfortable clothing line is hand-drawn, unique artwork. I know this because I watch my sister do it. Yes, this is my sister's shop, and she takes so much time and care into everything that she creates. Every single piece is special. So again, whether you are just getting excited, going to the parks, whether you're getting ready to run a race, or whether you just want to add a little bit of Disney fashion into your life, make sure you check out Bella Bling's adorable, comfortable styles. Visit www.bellablingshop.com. You know I'll put that in the show notes for you. And make sure you use code PODCAST, all capital letters, to get 10% off your first order. Tag me when you get it, and I want to see what you decide.